Hi there, welcome. I'm joined by Mike Simmons from Automatic at Insurance Telematics USA. Mike, how are you doing?
Doing well, how are you?
Very good, thanks, very good. Mike, to start off with, could I ask you to just give us a brief description of your role within Automatic and how they fit into the insurance, telematics and connected car space?
Sure. So I'm basically the head of partnerships at Automatic. So I spend my time running around talking to insurance companies and a bunch of the attendees at the conference here, and talk to them about putting partnerships together. We have for those of you who aren't familiar with Automatic, we have a solution. It's an OBD plug-in solution. What's different about it is it's a device that we sell primarily to consumers. We're at Best Buy and Target and Amazon, Apple, that kind of thing. So we deliver a connected car solution that insurers can partner with us, embed their insurance, their UBI experience inside of our device. And what the customer gets is a great connected car, broad connected car experience with insurance as just one component. So it takes away a lot of the issues of privacy and things that, the stigma that's kind of gone along with the UBI business, and puts it in a context of a richer connected car experience that solves a bunch of problems for customers around driving and car ownership.
Okay, fantastic. Actually, I should have asked beforehand. I can't remember the topic that you're speaking on.
Oh, so I'm talking about the App Store for the car and finding the killer app.
Okay, that's right. Okay. So I'm just going to basically introduce that, that's all.
Okay.
So, Mike, you're going to be actually speaking at the conference, which is fantastic. What is it about sort of the killer app topic which is so pertinent now? We've touched on it maybe before, but is there a reason why we're addressing this again?
Yeah, so I'm excited to be here. Thanks for the invite, by the way. But we're excited to talk about it, particularly because we just launched what the press has called the App Store for the car. Right? We have an app gallery that we launched with Automatic, where we show off all the partners that have done integrations on our API platform, essentially. So there's a bunch of companies out there like Nest and Jawbone and Concur, big companies that people know about that want to bring the connected car into their user experience, and they've come to Automatic to try to enable that. So we launched the App Store for the car, and we're rolling that out, and I want to tell people about it because there's lots of opportunities. I think it's particularly interesting for insurance companies that could think about building an app on our platform. It's a really easy toolkit, totally open toolkit to build a user experience that's all about their brand and exactly what they want to present to customers, but done in a safe and secure way, where we take over the heavy lifting of a secure connection to the car and getting the device in the customer's hands and that kind of thing. But I wanted to explore a little bit and tell the audience a bit about what we've discovered on our journey with the App Store for the car, give them some insight into the kind of apps that folks are downloading, and see, peer into whether is there really a killer app for the connected car? Is there one app that everybody's going after that really makes the difference, as we all search for the services that are really going to be the right services for insurers and their partners to provide around UBI.
Okay, fantastic. And you join a host of expert speakers at the conference. Is there a speaker or a topic that you're particularly interested in to catch at the conference this year?
Yeah, there's a ton of good ones, actually. I always like, it's great to hear from all the insurers that you have at the panel. Progressive, it's great to hear what they're doing because they've been such a leader in the space. So good to hear what's new with them. The OEMs in particular, we partner with the OEMs. We have a partnership with Ford. We talk to all the OEMs, but hearing what the OEMs are thinking about, because the space is so dynamic, right? It's changing all the time, and what was important last year, what was a focus last year, is not always a focus this year, and it's kind of changing every year as we go forward. So it's great to hear what their latest thinking is, what they think is kind of their killer app, right, to making UBI work. How the OEMs are working with the different insurance companies to get the data from the car that they need, and how we can sort of complement and work together to make that make UBI accessible to as many customers as possible.
Sure. You kind of said it there. In 2014, things have moved on. What have been the things that you've seen as sort of key in terms of the development of the UBI industry?
Yeah, I think it's really all about the move to services. I think we've been through what I call UBI 1.0, and I'll talk in my presentation a bit tomorrow about it. But what was UBI 1.0 is really about how do we just give the customer a chance to prove their driving behavior and get a discount on insurance, right? That's what we've been talking about the last several years, and I think now going forward, people realize it's more about that's a component of it, that's an interesting component of it, but if you don't have that in a broader context of service and other things that you as the insurer can do for the customer, it's not a very sticky proposition, right? Customer's going to pull an OBD device out, they don't want to be part of it anymore, they don't want anybody spying on them. So I think how to deliver services in a way that customers really engage with them is, you hear a lot of topics. It looks like a lot of the talks are about that this year, and I'm going to spend some time talking about that too. But I think that's a real interesting area that we're going to dive into a little bit deeper.
Fantastic. We've got some big topics to dive into, as you say, this year. That include sort of the Internet of Things, the autonomous car, mobility. Just around the autonomous vehicle, we've seen now automakers are making huge investments. Tier 1 suppliers are doing the same thing. When it comes to the insurance telematics industry, how do we start to react to autonomous features coming into the vehicle? And when do we think the autonomous car is going to make a meaningful impact to the way companies such as yourself do business?
Yeah, great question. I'm going to actually spend some time talking about that in my presentation tomorrow, because it's a fascinating space. The car business is all of a sudden it's getting interesting again, right? All the talk about the autonomous car. And I'm a former Detroit guy. I'm a Detroit auto industry guy that's been transplanted to Silicon Valley, so I have a unique perspective on this. And you see these Google robot cars driving around Mountain View all day long. Yeah. The autonomous car is definitely on its way. If you do the math, I'm going to talk about this a little bit tomorrow, but it takes a long time for that to really penetrate the car park. There's still problems to solve around the autonomous car, right? It's not ready yet, even though they're driving around there. There's all those corner cases need to be solved before we really see mass adoption of the autonomous car. But it's coming, and when we see it, it's going to be a game changer, right? It's going to change everything. We're going to have to do a big reboot on this conference. Everything that we talk about is going to be in a different context. It's still going to be relevant, still going to be important, but it's going to be a completely different dialogue as you see autonomous vehicles changing the way people think about car ownership, changing the size of the car park, how many cars are bought every year, utilization goes way up, the number of cars you need on the road go way down. The implications for the insurance business are they're mind-blowing when you think about it, right? So it's great to be talking about that now, because if I'm an insurer, I want to make plans. It's 50 years out, but we need to start making plans today to figure out what we're going to be on that path, because we're not going to be an insurance company that's insuring 250 million cars on the U.S. roads with drivers that, we cover the liability because they're not perfect drivers. It's going to be a very different environment. Super exciting, much safer environment, but it's going to be a lot of change, so it's going to be pretty exciting.
Good stuff. The Internet of Things is obviously a huge topic. It's a huge concept. Bringing all these devices together, collecting data for all these different things, and obviously it has a huge implication to how UBI business is conducted. How do you react and how do you adapt to the IoT sort of being rolled out and affecting the business that you're doing now?
Yeah. Well, it's great for us because that's so core to what we do. I talked about the App Store for the car that we launched. We're basically an enablement layer for the Internet of Things to come to the car, right? So if folks want to do things, all the things that they want to do around the IoT space. So there's a big trend. A lot of customers want to connect their car and their home, right? So when they do that now, what they're doing is they're going out and they're buying a Nest thermostat and they're buying an automatic device. And with our API platform and our App Store, customer can download the Nest integration app, and now their car and their home talk to each other, and you can do fascinating things like have real precise rules around go check, have my car and my home talk to each other, so that on my commute every night, based on traffic and weather conditions and ETAs, start warming up my thermostat at precisely the right time, so that there's, we can achieve Nest's goal of 0 watts wasted, right? So that comes through the kind of the API platform that we've enabled and the deep partnership that we have with a bunch of IoT partners, right? So that's just one example of what we're doing, but I think those are the kind of things that when you layer a bunch of those on together, the connected car becomes super compelling for the customers, for the insurance customers, the UBI customers, and getting that in the context of an insurance discount and a Nest integration and an IoT solution that can magically do my expense reports and deduct my business mileage. Those are all things that are kind of enabled on the Automatic platform now. So the IoT space is growing fast. It's here. It's coming very quickly. So it's going to be fun to watch, fun to see how it evolves.
Good stuff. The connected car has also led to a big change in the way that people transport themselves. New modes of mobility. So car sharing, ride sharing, e-hailing, and all these services seem to be getting more popular. Same sort of question again. How do you sort of incorporate a trend like that for an insurance service? Yeah.
It's going to be really interesting to see the kind of the short-term impact and the long-term impact of that. In the short term, if I'm an insurer and everybody that's here today, I think the implication is going to be it's going to make our lives a little bit more complicated, right? You're going to have to start slicing up drives and trips into smaller and smaller chunks of liability. So now you see, a regular driver becomes a TNC driver, and they go back to being a regular driver, and these different parts of the trip that you're going to have to insure differently. And I think that's going to be sort of the immediate impact. But the longer term impact is where the real structural change comes in. When you think about ride sharing and autonomy together and what that can do, Uber today is really compelling, but wait till Uber can get rid of the driver in the car, right? The economics completely change. And that makes car sharing take off like a rocket, and it completely changes everything we think about today with car ownership. And with changes in car ownership come changes in how you approach insurance, right?
Sure. So I was going to say, in the years past, just talking about the automaker a little bit and their role, insurance companies with a UBI program have been craving that onboard vehicle data. The relationship seems to be evolving now. We see direct relationships, GM and Progressive is an obvious example. What do you see as being the relationship, and how do you see it sort of evolving in terms of the automakers' involvement in this part of the industry?
Yeah. Well, data from the car is so fundamental to the UBI value proposition, and any way you can get that data, I think, is an important thing. It's something that we should be going after. And where GM's got OnStar and effectively all their new cars now, that's a great source of the data. It's easy to sort of mash that up in the cloud, deliver that to insurers, and that should be happening, right? And it is starting to happen now. So we work with both the insurers and the OEMs. Where we can add value is you got 250 million plus cars on the road today. All those customers need to be insured. It's going to be a long time before all those 250 million cars are replaced with cars with embedded connectivity from the GMs and the Fords of the world. So in the meantime, we have a solution that can make those customers part of the addressable market for UBI and help get them accustomed to the idea of doing UBI and starting to chip away at that stigma and make it not about privacy and more about connected services and changing my in-car experience and my connected car experience. So I think we feel like we can address things. The market is there right now, right? People want it right now. Yeah. It's going to take a long time before they can get it from the OEMs, just because you've got long product development cycles, and you can do all the new cars coming off the line at GM. You've got some interesting things you can do, but that's a real small part of the market at this point. We think the solutions that are going to be developed are really customers want them today. So I think that will shape what the market looks like in terms of connected solutions and services and the companies that they're going to want to deal with, and then how that transport layer works from getting the data from the car into those solutions. There's going to be a bunch of different ways to get there, right? Whether it's us partnering with OEMs to enable some of our apps, or the insurance companies going directly to an OEM to get the driver data they need to price insurance. I think there's going to be a bunch of different flavors, but it'll be an interesting ride.
Sure. One question, actually, just off the cuff. We've got a panel session about the clearinghouse for UBI. Is that a subject that you and Automatic have been involved in?
So we're talking to all the folks that are talking about that. It's not something we're doing today, okay, but it's definitely something that folks are talking to us about and asking us about, because we're the folks out there that are selling a connected car product in Best Buy and in Amazon. So they see us as bringing incremental customers into the fold here that could be part of the addressable market. So yeah, I think our role is to sort of kind of start that dialogue and kind of open that up. But we haven't done the work of making that data sort of transportable everywhere. But it's technically it's possible we can do it. All that capability exists. We're getting the data. We're building a good data. Essentially figuring out what sort of driver behavior our customers have. But we're real slow and cautious about opening that data up to other uses that the customer didn't really sign up for, right? They bought the product because they want a great connected car experience, not because they want us to share their data with anybody. So we're treading lightly there, but I think the future of that topic is really interesting, right? I think there's definitely going to be a need for some standardization for us all to start doing stuff the same way, so that it can be more interoperable, and that'll help the whole category grow, right?
Sure. We've got 2 days ahead of us, or 1.5 days left, I should say. What are the key things that yourself personally and the Automatic Labs would like to take away from the conference?
Yeah, we just want to get the latest pulse on the market and what's happening in the market. I mean, I've been coming to the conference for years now, and this is sort of my checkpoint to see where is the business this year, and it's in a different spot every year. So it's great to come here and just really get the pulse, because everything's different every time we come. So we want to see what the OEMs are thinking, what all the insurers are thinking. We're talking to them all the time. We're talking to a bunch of them, but the rest of them that we're not talking to, they all come here. So it's great to get that check-in, get that pulse. But yeah, that's what I want to take away.
Okay, fantastic. Well, Mike, thanks very much for joining us. I hope you have a good time at the rest of the conference, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.